Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. All right, everybody, I am back from vacation. Good to be away for a few days. That's why there have been no updates on this page here over the last couple days. I've just been away, relaxing, on the beach, getting a tan, having a few too many Corona lights. But I'm back, and enough about me. Let's get to the single biggest topic really over the last couple weeks because it's been July you don't think of as a traditionally busy month in college hoops, but because of a weird calendar, it turned into it this year. July 1st was the last day that players, if they were interested in using a one-time transfer, they had to be in the portal by end of day July 1st. Anyone who wanted to withdraw from the NBA draft and play college basketball next year had to be withdrawn from July 7th. And so those two dates are important because of this reason. Illinois All-American Kofi Cockburn on July 1st shocks the college basketball world by saying, you know what? I am still testing the NBA draft waters, but I am going to put my name in the transfer portal. If I return to college basketball, I want to see what my options are out there. July 1st comes, his name is in the portal, it's huge news. July 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever it is, he officially withdraws. And really over the last 7 or 8 days leading up into Friday was Kofi Watch, right? Kofi Watch. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to end up? Is he going to return to Illinois? Is he going to transfer? And on Friday, the 16th of July, we got our answer on what a second-team All-American is going to do, and that is Kofi Cockburn has decided that he will, in fact, return to Illinois for his junior season. Listen, I'll be honest. I think this is great news for Illinois, great news for the Big Ten, great news for college basketball, and I'll be real. If you listen to me talk about the initial transfer on July 1, I think this is a great, smart, right decision for Kofi Cockburn. So let's get into it. And obviously, look, it goes without saying, if you're listening to this, you know how good of a player Kofi Cockburn is. 18 points, 9.5 rebounds per game last year, second-team All-American, first-team All-Big Ten, just an absolute force down low. I looked it up. I forget the stat, but I think it was like 13 out of 14 games at one stretch in the season. He had a double-double. And when you add him in with what Illinois has coming back, all of a sudden Illinois is a really, really, really interesting team. Illinois brings back Andre Curbelo. Probably, I would argue, one of the 2 or 3 best point guards, maybe potentially in college basketball last year. They did lose Ayo Dosunmu, friend of the Aaron Torres podcast. They lose Ayo Dosunmu, but in Ayo Dosumu's place, whether it was when he missed games with injury or when he was on the bench, Andre Curbelo proved to be a player that can thrive in the Big Ten. So he is back at point guard. You had 2 other players use an extra year of eligibility. Trent Frazier, who averaged 10 points per game, 36% three-point shooting. DeMonte Williams, kind of a big wing. But the one thing Illinois was missing, and the one thing there was clearly no way that they could replace this late in the process, was a big, monstrous center down low. Kofi Cockburn decides to come back, and all of a sudden, that whole problem was solved. I know that Illinois did sign a player out of the portal named Omar Payne, which would have taken up some of Kofi's production, but you can't replace 18 and 9.5 in the middle of July. So he comes back, and I'll tell you this, all of a sudden, Illinois is a fascinating team heading into 2021-2022. I saw John Rothstein had him as high as number 8. I don't know that I have him quite that high, but when you talk about the returnees, you talk about some of the newcomers. I didn't even mention, by the way, they got one of the best three-point shooters in America, Alfonso Plummer, out of the portal, who played at Utah last year. This is a really, really good team. I thought they were an NCAA tournament caliber team without Kofi coming back, and no one assumed Kofi was coming back at all. But when you add Kofi Cockburn to the mix, listen, I don't know if they're top 10. Like I said, Rothstein, my buddy, has them at number 8. I would probably have them in that 12 to 15 range, a team that I don't quite know that they're going to get to a 1 or a 2 seed. But listen, man, if the stars align and everything shakes out the way that it possibly could, we could be talking about them as a 2 seed, a 3 seed, a Big Ten champ. They obviously finished second in the regular season. Could I see the scenario where they win the Big Ten championship next year? Absolutely. Now, I do have Purdue and Michigan ranked ahead of them, but that doesn't mean that Illinois is that far behind. But Kofi Cockburn's impact on that program is that big. By the way, you know who else I give credit to? I give credit to Kofi Cockburn Because I truly believe, and I can say from pretty strong authority, when Kofi Cockburn entered the transfer portal on July 1st, I do not believe that his intention was to return to Illinois. We at least know that he was seriously considering leaving because he said it in an interview with Jonathan Givony. He's like, I'm looking at all my options. The coach that recruited me is at Kentucky. I would love to at least consider Kentucky, but I am going to pursue all my other options. And I think what happened was Kofi kind of realized, wait a second now, I got it pretty good at Illinois. Now, look, if there's a place that I can go and I can be the missing piece and we can compete for a national championship and we're the number one team in the country, I should do it. But if not, I'm not going to go somewhere else just for the sake of going somewhere else. And I think he looked around at Illinois. He said, wait a second. Why am I going to go chase a place that I don't know? I don't know the coaching staff. I don't know the other players. I don't know if they even want me. When right here, I have a coaching staff that knows me, a coaching staff that knows how to use me. They know my strengths. They know my weaknesses. They know, my point guard knows me. This guy knows me. I used to live in the dorm with that guy. This guy and I used to go out for pizza after the game. I think he realized that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I give him credit for making the mature decision. We might not like, as a society or as fans or as media or as coaches, we might not like that players have options, but I think Kofi Cockburn used his options perfectly in this situation. He said, you know what, if I am going to come back to college basketball, let me just see what's out there. Let me see if there really is a better place that is going to better develop me for the NBA and put me in a better position to win a national championship. And there really wasn't, which kind of brings me to the last point that I want to make, which is this recruitment was fascinating from the perspective that when Kofi entered the portal on July 1st, I think we all assumed, oh my God, this is going to be like the recruitment of the set. This is going to be like, Bill Self and John Calipari and John Wooden's going to come out of the grave. We thought this was going to be huge, and I don't think it ever really got to that point. Look, it all obviously starts with Kentucky, and I'll be honest, a lot of the Kentucky hype, some of the Kentucky hype at least, came from a couple tweets that I sent myself. Now, there were others. Jeff Goodman sent out some stuff. Travis Graff, who's a great recruiting writer, I believe, had some pretty good information on it. But, I did put out there, everyone I'm talking to believes that if Kofi comes back to college, it is going to be at Kentucky. But I even made it clear at the time, that is not from Kofi's camp. That is not from Kentucky's camp. That's just like buzz in college basketball. That the equation, what I equated it to was essentially that the people I talked to, it was almost like a defeatist attitude. Yeah, we'll give him a call. But come on, if he comes back to college basketball, he's going to play for Orlando, Antigua, and Calipari at Kentucky. And so when he first entered the portal, I know for a fact he was interested in Kentucky because he said it himself. But I think what ended up happening was Kentucky looked at the situation a lot like Kofi looked at the situation, a lot like we all looked at the situation. Kentucky was like, Kofi's really good. He is an All-American, and he is going to be awesome, and he can do a lot of different things. But is it going to help our locker room to bring him in? Not that he's a bad kid. Again, to be clear, it's not that he's a bad kid or a bad person or he's this or he's that. But our roster at Kentucky is pretty much set. We have 6 scholarship players down low in the front court, including a kid named Oscar Tshiebwe, who is basically exactly like Kofi Cockburn. Big, physical, low-post presence, and it just doesn't make sense for us to recruit him. And so what was interesting was while there was early buzz in college basketball circles, some of which I probably had a little bit to do with, but also Kofi had to do with because Kofi said in an interview with Jonathan Givony that he would consider Kentucky. That buzz and interest, I think, fizzled out pretty quick. I saw while I was gone, reporter that covers Kentucky, I believe his name's Chris Fisher, kind of said, look, they may have been in communication, but it never got to the point where John Calipari got on the phone and made the pitch and said, come here, you're the missing piece. And so when you look at the Kentucky element and really the other element of everybody else, I don't think this recruitment got as crazy as it was because of the timing and because of the player. Kofi's an incredibly gifted player, but he's 6'10". You either have that guy on your roster or you don't, and some teams don't even play with that kind of guy, right? Arkansas doesn't want to play with that guy. Arkansas wants everybody to be between 6'4" and 6'7" and super switchable. Maybe not 6'7", but 6'9", 6'10", super switchable, can play all 5 positions, all that stuff. On the flip side, the teams that need that kind of guy basically had him. Kentucky has Oscar Tshiebwe. Kansas has a kid named David McCormick. UCLA has Cody Riley and Miles Johnson. And so when you really broke down the recruitment, there just weren't a ton of great options in great places where a guy even as good as Kofi would have been the missing piece. So ultimately, I give him a ton of credit. I give the schools a ton of credit. Listen, I give Kentucky credit. They could have brought him in. He was clearly interested. They had the ties, but Kentucky said, look, we have to show respect to the other 9, 10, 11, 12 guys in this locker room and say, hey, we brought you here because we thought you were good enough, and now it's time for you to prove it. We are not even going to call that guy because we believe that you guys are enough for us to win at the highest level. So really interesting recruitment, really fascinating. And let me just say this. It's great for Illinois, as I mentioned. Great for college basketball to have a guy that people know. I think it's just awesome that over the last 3 or 4 days, we've gotten so many great college, maybe not 3 or 4 days, but we've gotten so many great players back in college basketball. Hunter Dickinson at Michigan, Johnny Juzang at UCLA, all of those guys, part of it maybe with the name, image, likeness, but going to be a really fun year. Illinois, as I said, probably, in my opinion, about the 12th to 15th best team in the country, but they get their All-American center back. Credit to them for not giving up. And really, honestly, and I want to make this clear, credit to Kofi Cockburn. In this era of chasing clout and chasing this and chasing that, and what about this? He realized the best possible option for him was to return to Champaign, and now I'm excited to see him in an Illini uniform next year. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres YouTube page. College hoops content, college football content year-round. Make sure to subscribe, like the page, turn on the bell. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Aaron_Torres. Follow me on Instagram at Aaron Torres Pod.